Noah Granger didn't move. Watching this, I thought, yeah, something big's about to go down. Her finger was an inch from his face. She shouted. He hit record. No words. The sign behind him said, "Federal Zone, no trespassing." She stepped past it anyway. Cybertruck, doors open. Men in hunting gear stood behind her, silent. She thought he'd flinch. He didn't blink. Left hand, a stamped federal file. Right hand, GoPro, steady. She leaned in. He looked at her like time had stopped. He wasn't backing down. He was counting. And she just gave him the first number. He wasn't from here, but the land knew him. Noah Granger used to wear a federal badge. Environmental Protection Agency, Wetlands Division, Policy Enforcement. He left after 10 years, quietly, no headline, no farewell email, just one line to his supervisor. "It's time I protect something that actually matters." And then he drove west. Lake Mirror wasn't on most maps, just a lake, a patch of trees, some cattle fences, and one narrow corridor of land where the air stayed colder year-round. Locals called it the Bend. But his grandmother, she called it sacred. She walked that corridor every dusk. 40 years, rain or shine. One hand on her rosary, the other on a field notebook. She marked bird calls, soil shifts, oil slicks. She once told him, "This land listens. Most people don't." When she died, the neighbors brought pie. The county sent nothing. Noah buried her ashes at the foot of the last pine she logged in her book. And he made a choice. He didn't move into her house. He moved into her routine. Every morning, coffee, boots, gate check. Every night, notes, photos, backup. He didn't post online, didn't join meetings. But when they paved half the trail, he marked it. When the new HOA sent him a welcome packet with a clause about development priority, he highlighted the line and tucked it into his glove box. He wasn't angry, he was documenting. There's a map in his leather folio, folded so many times the creases look permanent. One red line, no names, just two handwritten initials. R.B. Raiden Blackthorne, a retired ranger, vanished from the system, but not from the land. Next to that map, a hairpin. Tortoiseshell. Chipped at the end, his grandmother's. He found it in the tall grass last fall, right where the new board planned to install a community overlook. He never spoke of it, just picked it up, wiped it clean, and slid it between two pages. Some things you don't fight for in public. Some things you guard until the other side steps too far. She didn't knock, didn't call ahead. The Tesla hadn't even stopped humming before the door swung open and both heels hit the ground. Cybertruck, polished, oversized, parked directly on the old stone boundary line, now barely visible beneath the weeds. But Noah saw it. He always saw it. She walked straight past the sign. Federal Zone, no trespassing, Section 18-114. Didn't flinch, didn't glance. As if the law was ornamental, as if it wasn't made for her. The woman's name wasn't on the mailbox, the county deed, or the conservation ledger, but she stepped onto the land like she'd inherited it from God. Fuchsia suit, diamond pin, clipboard in one hand, cell phone in the other. She didn't hesitate. "Begin survey," she said, loud enough for the hills to hear. 8 men followed, camouflage jackets, bright orange hats. Some carried rangefinders. One had a roll of yellow caution tape. They moved like they'd done this before, and like they weren't expecting resistance. Noah didn't move. GoPro already recording. The folder in his left hand didn't shake. She saw him, but not really. "You're in violation now, sir," she snapped. "Step back." Noah blinked. Once. Behind her, one of the hunters glanced at the sign. His eyes flicked down, then back to her. He didn't say anything, but something in his stance shifted, almost imperceptible, like his gut had just caught up with his orders. The woman kept going. "We've already filed the claim. This tract is within the Willowbrook Heights expansion zone." Her voice was confident, legal, practiced. But she wasn't talking to Noah. She was talking to the air, the camera, the witnesses she didn't know were watching. And that was the mistake. Noah let her speak, let her walk the line. Let her step 3 full paces into protected land. On record, on video. With a federal sign in frame, Raiden's voice came back, slow and dry. Let him climb the ladder. Just don't tell him it's leaning on a lie. Noah stayed silent, but he was already marking the timestamp, already tagging the audio, already knowing that line, "You're in violation now, sir," would be the one she'd regret. He didn't need to win the moment. He just needed her to keep talking. You ever watch someone cross a line and the person they challenged just stood there? Not because they're weak, but because they've already planned what comes next. That feeling, I've carried it too. When silence isn't surrender, just strategy. If this kind of story speaks to you, you'll want to be here when the rest unfolds. By morning, they had staked their claim like it already belonged to them. Pop-up tents, folding chairs, a whiteboard with colored markers. She stood next to it, waving like a realtor showing off lakefront property. The sign behind her said, Lake Mirror Wellness Retreat, Phase 1, Surveying Begins. There was no permit posted, no agency seal, just bold font and a confident tone. Neighbors passed by, she smiled, waved. "You'll love what we're building," she said loud enough for Noah to hear. Like she wasn't trespassing, like this was hers now. Noah didn't say a word. He stood behind the fence line, just far enough to stay silent, but close enough to watch it all unfold. The camera lens on his GoPro caught everything. Then he walked back to the house, sat at the same desk his grandmother used to sort maps by hand, opened a folder. Inside, satellite images from 2009, overlays marked in red, a circle around a term only a few people knew, Sacred Corridor, Federal Class B Buffer Zone. He scanned one page, clicked attach, typed one email address, no subject, no body, just the file. He hit send. To most, it would look like nothing. But to the man receiving it, Raiden Blackthorne, it was a signal. 15 years ago, they had drawn those boundaries together. 3 things mattered, Raiden had once said. The line, the witness, and the moment. That email started all 3. Outside, she was still moving. Her crew hammered stakes, strung ribbon. She drove a temporary zoning sign into the ground beside an old oak tree. That oak had a copper marker under the roots. Placed there in 1987, Noah didn't stop her. He watched. The metal clanged. The sign wobbled once, then stuck. At its base, a faded plaque, almost invisible. Survey Point 3, corridor boundary, do not disturb. She never saw it, but someone else did. An old man walking his dog paused near the tree. His eyes narrowed. He looked from the sign to the tree to Noah, then kept walking. But the camera caught it. Every blink, every glance, every violation. And somewhere deep in a forest office, a retired ranger opened his inbox, read the file, and whispered to himself, "All right, kid, that's the first one." Monday morning, an email hit every inbox in the community. Subject line, final notice. Noah Granger has 24 hours to respond. It came from the Willowbrook Heights HOA committee. CC to over 80 residents. Language was sharp, corporate. Failure to acknowledge this notice will be considered willful forfeiture of development input rights. A quiet threat, designed to make silence look like guilt, but they CC'd the wrong man. 10 minutes later, a reply hit the same list. From Elliot Rourke. Subject, re-final notice. Just one sentence. I planted that oak with his grandmother, long before any of you got here. No signature, no emojis, just history. And suddenly, things started to shift. People remembered Mr. Rourke, the man with the dog, the veteran with a quiet gait. He never spoke in HOA meetings, but when he did, it meant something. Noah didn't reply right away. He waited, then forwarded the same satellite map from 2009. This time, he added 2 lines. This property falls within the Sacred Corridor designation, filed with the U.S. Forest Registry, case number 114-ZD. No greetings, no closing, just facts. The kind that don't need debate. The silence that followed wasn't silent anymore. One by one, replies came in. A woman named Claire Jennings, replied all. single mother, teaches 4th grade at Lake Mirror Elementary, no bold font, no legalese. Just this. If that land's protected, I don't want my kid growing up thinking money always wins. Nobody argued, nobody added emojis. But the chain kept growing. A neighbor sent a photo of the old signpost, buried in weeds, still marked Federal Buffer Zone. Someone else forwarded a letter from 1997, banned hunting trails crossing that same oak line. By noon, the thread had over 30 replies, not loud, but aligned. And Noah, he never once raised his voice. He just hit forward. Somewhere inside that Cybertruck, someone finally paused. The HOA's confidence cracked, because the one man they assumed was alone had let everyone else speak first. And when he finally did, he spoke with maps, with records, with a corridor older than any vote they'd ever taken. The message was clear now. This land doesn't need permission. It already has protection. That afternoon, Celeste called a community meeting, held in the lakeside event barn, folding chairs, clipboards. She walked in smiling, heels echoing across the concrete. To her, this wasn't a hearing, it was a victory lap. She opened with pleasantries, talked about revitalization, shared vision, and legal cooperation. Then came the slides, a digital rendering of the future retreat, curved buildings, yoga decks, a dock. Behind her, the words, Lake Mirror Wellness Project, approved Phase 1. She flipped to the next slide. Parcel maps, red lines, a dot labeled Granger Disputed Boundary. Some resistance, she said, smiling toward the back rows. But we're confident the community will move forward as one. That's when Noah raised his hand. She paused, nodded politely. He didn't speak. He walked forward. Plugged in a drive, one slide. The room dimmed slightly. 2009 U.S. Forest Registry Overlay Map. Stamped, color-coded. One name in the bottom corner, Celeste Draper, Assistant Regional Compliance Officer. Noah didn't turn to face her, just spoke one sentence. You sign this? The room froze. Celeste's smile wavered, lips parting. He clicked again. Slide 2. Handwritten notes in the margin. Sacred zone. Do not approve construction inside. The handwriting didn't match his. It matched the archive field reports. It matched his grandmother's hand. One voice in the back whispered, "Oh my God." Noah tapped one more time. Audio file, Celeste's voice. From a recorded Zoom chat. As long as he doesn't find the old zoning file, we're fine. We'll break ground before hunting season. Silence. One of the hunters stood, walked out. A clipboard dropped. Someone shifted in their chair. No one touched the refreshments. Celeste stepped back, tried to speak, but a man near the front, who'd once co-signed her letter, just shook his head, folded his arms. Another woman, arms crossed, muttered, "She knew the whole time." In less than 3 minutes, the energy flipped. No one raised their voice, but eyes started cutting sharper than words ever could. Noah didn't move. He didn't need to. She was still standing, but the room was already walking away from her. The map had been buried, the corridor nearly paved over, but now it was visible to everyone, and she was the one who'd brought it back into the light. Noah didn't speak after the meeting. He walked past the gravel lot, past the last truck pulling away, kept walking until the noise dissolved into the wind. The trees were quiet, the lake still. One crow called, then nothing. At the edge of the property, he stopped, set the file down on a stump, ran a hand across the wood, felt the grain. Then, with steady fingers, he lifted the old sign from the dirt. Sacred Wildlife Corridor. Faded letters, hand-carved, tilted slightly from where it had been kicked weeks ago. He didn't fix the tilt, just pressed it back into the ground, like it belonged, like it never left. A single nail dropped from his coat pocket, old, rusted, bent at the tip. He didn't use it, just looked at it for a second, then tucked it into the base of the sign, buried, like memory. Behind him, a cow stepped through the clearing, looked, paused, chewed quietly, then wandered on, unbothered. Noah exhaled. Clouds moved slow overhead. The air smelled like pine bark and something older, rain that never fell. He didn't smile, didn't cry, just stood still long enough for the silence to settle, then picked up the file again and walked toward the barn. A breeze pushed through the tall grass. The sign stood crooked but proud, and under it, just barely visible beneath the roots, a second board, cracked, almost unreadable, but still there, still here. Not everyone fights to win. Some just want no one to touch what they've guarded too long. Some people build fences, others plant signs, but a few just stand there, long enough, quiet enough, until the land remembers who it belongs to. The old board Noah replanted. It didn't shine, it didn't straighten, it just stood again, like it always had. The rusted nail he didn't use, it meant more that way, not driven in, just present, like a memory kept in the pocket. There was no applause, no headlines, only wind, only the sound of something being left alone. Finally. People think justice is loud, sharp, quick, but sometimes justice is time. Justice is knowing where not to step. Justice is watching someone cross the line and not stopping them. Because some lines prove more when broken. The land said nothing, but it held the sign, and that was enough.